The following is a World-Class Bullshitters exclusive.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the brightest spot of a happy childhood. In the 1990s, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a phenomenon that hooked every kid with its high-octane mix of martial arts, giant robots, and vibrant, colorful heroes. The show was a Saturday morning staple, and its toys, produced by Bandai, were pure gold for 90s kids. Action figures like the original 8-inch figures, the Automorphin Rangers with the heads that flip, were coveted treasures, while the Dinosaurs, which combined into the Megazord, were the coolest thing anyone had ever seen. There were accessories like the Power Morpher, the Blade Blaster, the Dragon Dagger, and other roleplay items that let kids live out their Power Ranger fantasy. Demand for these toys outstripped supply, turning them into rare gems that defined a generation's playtime and cemented the show in 90s pop culture. The Power Rangers legacy has endured for over 3 decades, with nostalgia keeping fans hooked. This staying power sparked 2 major relaunches, a 2010 remastered series with enhanced visuals, and the 2023 Once and Always Netflix special, reuniting the original cast members for a nostalgic celebration. These revivals set the stage for today's video and Playmates Toys, the 2025 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition line, tapping into that same nostalgia. So folks, Saturdays are for the toys here on WCBS, and we're about to go out into the toy aisles to see if we can find some of these new Power Rangers remastered toys. So we start today's journey at Walmart, and we're on the hunt. Not for Jurassic Park, not for Superman, not for Spider-Man himself, but to see if these new Power Rangers toys that grown men on the internet are fighting over are available in stores. But before we get there, I had to stop at the Star Wars section. We have this lady from Ahsoka, and quite a few figures from the Acolyte. Are you surprised? I'm not. Moving on. They got a ton of these Mandalorian figures and a lot of Acolyte Kelnakas. What a waste of plastic. Ooh, Super Friends. I'm holding out for Batman myself. So I'm not really seeing any Power Rangers. I'm over here in the video game section. I don't see anything. I'm out here in the wrestling section. I see a lot of LA Knight. Yeah, but I don't see any Power Rangers. Oh, wait. Here they are, hidden at the end cap. That's a good sign, right? Well, anyway, here we are. We found the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition toys, and we have the head-flippin' Morphin Action Power Rangers, and they look kinda rough, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So they had most of the figures here. Let's take a look at Tommy, everyone's favorite, the Green Ranger. And, well, he's got his headband, and the face sculpt looked like Jason David Frank, but he's a little thicker, like King Kong Bundy thick. So here are all the Rangers in the collection. You got red, black, blue, yellow, pink, green, Rita Repulsa, and a putty, and you can combine the Dinozords to create the Megazord. Yeah, this is taking me back to the 90s, but maybe not in the best way. So Billy was my favorite original Ranger, and the blue Triceratops Zord has always been cool looking. So if you want to read that, you can pause it right now. You can see the assortment, you can see what this Megazord looks like as it's combined, and we're going to put it back on the shelf. But let's take a look at the Red Ranger's Tyrannosaurus Zord. Again, this is pretty cool. It combines with the other ones. Let's take a look at the back eventually. Let's put it down first. They didn't have all the Zords here, but what they did have were the role-playing pieces, like this Morphin.
Time to beat these beasts!
Okay.
We need dinosaur power, now!
Yes, we do.
Let's take them down!
Whose voices are these? Yeah, that's the theme song right there.
It's Morphin time!
Yes, it always is Morphin time here at this office. And, yeah, so anyway, that's the Power Morpher. Not really interested in that. It's tiny. I have my original one from when I was a kid. But let's take a look at Billy. Like I said, Billy was my first favorite Ranger. This looks like David Yost. And I think I'm going to have to take Billy home and head back to the office. So here we are at the office, the Power Ranger wing of the WCBS collection. And you can see we have tons and tons of Rangers and Megazords and different scales, different lines. They're all represented here at WCBS. We are the epitome of pop culture, after all. So here we are with the Blue Ranger, and as you can see, I took him home. Now let's take a look at the back of the box, shall we? Again, it shares a similarity to the Blue Ranger's Zord box. And speaking of Zords, here we have the Tyrannosaurus Rex Zord. I did buy this one as well. The Blue Ranger was $9.99 and this was $17.99. So they're not going to break the bank to get the entire collection, but this is a case of you get what you pay for. I don't know if the power of nostalgia can change that. So let's do a little comparison here, shall we? Something a little different than we've done on the channel. You have the new and you have the very first Blue Ranger action figure, my personal favorite. And let's take a closer look at the back because there are some similarities and you can decide who did it better. So this one has a fact file about the Blue Ranger, Billy Cranston, technical fighting, Power Lance, Triceratops, all that stuff. But the original has that too, and I might say that the original one does it better because we get a cutout card and you get his age, his birth date, his star sign, where he was born, favorite food. Ew, guacamole. Gee, that doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, I'm going to give the original a little more, I give it a point. You know, it's got more detail to it. Makes it a lot cooler in my book. It's not the power of nostalgia. So let's look at it up close. So I'm just going to take this bad boy out of the box, and for some reason I was having trouble opening it. So let's just rip it open, shall we? I'm not going to do this diplomatically anymore. I want my toy. Let's put that back there, and at the other Power Rangers, and we can look at Billy. Here he is, thick as hell, wide as King Kong Bundy. Doesn't look very good. So let's struggle to get the weapons out. We have the Blade Blaster in the sword form, I guess is what it's called. There's the other Blade Blaster. You gotta remember, folks, when this show came out, shit just happened. It didn't make a lot of sense because Saban didn't even know what was happening, and it was just random footage put together with awesome music, and it worked. It was the coolest show of the 90s. So let's pop Billy out of his plastic case. It'd be a lot cooler if it was carbonite, but I digress. Man, he does not want to come out. These anti-theft methods are pretty effective, I guess, but, you know, when you're my size, it's easy to just rip plastic. So let's try to set this guy down. He's got, it's kind of wonky looking. But let's look at the articulation. He's got ball-jointed shoulders. He's got... God, he's thick. God, his head is so tiny. This looks terrible. But at least it morphs, right? I mean, Billy's head morphs to 3 sizes too small to get that helmet on. But there's detail on the back. Let's look at the articulation. He bends at the elbow, the shoulder, the wrist has articulation, the thigh moves, it's a ball joint there, the knee bends. Let's look at how high he kicks. Not at all. And his leg is broken. That's kind of messed up and dark, but whatever. So, let's set him down. Right there. If we can get him to stay down. It's been kind of difficult to get this toy to move. Alright, so now that we got him situated, let's compare him to the original Blue Ranger. Yes, I have multiples of these, don't ask. I even have a giant cardboard cutout of it, and no, it's not in this video, I'm sorry. But as you can see, there's Billy, and the original is a 32-year-old toy, and it's better engineered. Yeah, this new one comes with more weapon choices, and the Power Lance is cool. I wish the original toys came with weapons, besides the Blade Blaster. But the Automorphin, or Fliphead as we called them back in the day, they came with their weapons, and we'll see him in a minute. But again, let's compare, not even scale, just the sculpt. It looks a lot more like a person than the original toy. This looks like an Oompa Loompa with a pinhead. Not really favoring the new one at all. But you don't really want to see it compared to the original Blue Ranger. This is what you want to see it compared to, the original Automorphin Power Ranger, the one that everybody seems to be nostalgic for. Now, this is an original from the 90s. It's not one of the re-releases. This is a 1994 classic. I've had it for many, many, many years. As you can see, I take good care of my toys. And this Billy, well, his chest opens up and his head flips over too. See, folks, when these came out, these were the most exciting toy ever. And this new one tries to replicate that, but it does it worse somehow. Like, I'll give it that it's got a better face sculpt. That looks more like David Yost than the original. The original looks like nobody. But hey, it was Billy when I was a kid. And this Billy, he can kick slightly higher. Not much. These figures aren't known for their articulation, but they had, cool play features. And when you pressed his morpher, he morphed into the Blue Ranger, just like the new one does. But let's take a closer look at the detail. The original's helmet is better looking in every way. It's got more paint apps, the eyes are gold, it's the right sculpt. It's still tiny, but it's not as embarrassingly bad as the new one. I understand that everyone makes the excuse that this new one is a kid's toy, but so is the old one. These toys I'm going to show you right here were not made for collectors back in the 90s. Power Rangers collectors did not exist. And this one, he has a Blade Blaster as well. We'll compare the Blade Blasters, shall we? The new one's got more detail. It's got color. They're both good sculpts. You know exactly what they are. But I gotta say, the new one is a little more detailed. Also, the new one's really fat. Like, oddly thick. But whatever. The new figure can hold on to it, and that's all that matters. Now, speaking of holding on to, these original figures had a peg in the hand, and that's how they held on to their accessories and the guns. But let's do what we did back in the day. Let's combine the power lances to one long lance. And there's a peg right here. They snap together, or they used to snap together. It's not even broken, it just wouldn't connect. I feel like an asshole. Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna give up. You know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna hold it into place. Like, one more try. Yeah, there we go. Nope, there we go. Anyway, fuck it. Let's just move on. So here they are compared. Obviously, the figures are in different scale, but the new one's much bigger, much more detailed. Again, the accessories are a plus, a win over the original. And let's see what this old one looks like holding an original, the new Power Lance, I should say. And this thing slides right down his hand. He cannot hold it whatsoever. It looks kind of silly. He looks like Gandalf. You shall not pass. And this new figure's not going to pass. I mean, look at that monstrosity. Ugh. So let's put his Blade Blaster back. It's 3Bs. That's a nice alliteration. So here he is compared to a more modern Automorphin figure. I think this was a Hasbro release from a few years back. I know I got it at Ollie's really cheap because it's a shit figure. They both have... What is uglier? Honestly. Like, the new one has a shittier helmet than the old one. The other one has more detail. But other than that, they're both ugly. It looks like a bomb went off on his chest. The new one, well, this newer one, has a decent power morpher. It actually says Power Rangers. This one, it does not. And that's okay, though. Their heads both spin, and they both look better than the original in terms of sculpting for Billy. Again, they're both fat as hell, and they have back detail, unlike the original. But there's Billy, there's the Blue Ranger, there's Billy. Let's look at them compared again. Again, those both look like David Yost, so that's a point. I think the new one looks slightly better, but I like that other one with the glasses, because my favorite episodes were the old ones where Billy did wear glasses, and he was afraid to fight for some reason. So let's set him back here, and let's get a look at our Blue Ranger again. This is hard to stand up, but who cares? The head flips. That's all they would care about. Here he is compared to the pricier and very exclusive SH Figure Arts Blue Ranger. This isn't really comparable. This is a collector's item. I just wanted to show you my favorite version of my original favorite Ranger compared to the newest version. So you can see how far we've fallen or come. It's up to you. But this was $39. This new one was $9.99. Again, they're not really comparable. And this thing has so many points of articulation, it's not even funny. There we go. We got him stood up. And now let's put Billy here, I guess one last time. Oh wait, there's one more figure to compare him to. This giant Blue Ranger doll. This is the 3-0 figure. Not the biggest fan of these. They kind of suck, to be honest with you. Nobody's done a great Power Ranger toy since the old Bandai SH Figure Arts line. But this has got a cloth costume. It's detailed. Look, it's so big we can't even fit it in frame together. So we're not even going to try. Let's just set this bad boy back here. In the corner. We do put Billy in the corner because his name's not Baby. So I gotta say, overall, I'm disappointed with this new figure. I mean, you can see him compared to modern figures, original figures. It just doesn't hold up. Again, this is supposed to be a kids line, but most of the toys I showed you were for kids. So that's kind of an excuse made by people that want to live the hype, remind themselves of what it was like to be a Power Rangers kid. I was one. I grew up. I guess I still have a Power Ranger kid at heart. But let's look at the other thing I bought, the Tyrannosaurus Zord. So here we are. Back in the day, the Megazord was sold as one unit, and you got all 5 Zords. Nowadays, they're piecing them out like they did in Japan. So you can see the Pterodactyl comes with minifigures of the original 5 Rangers because, let's be honest, the Pterodactyl Zord has very little play feature. It's just a chess piece for the Megazord. So this figure, this Zord, came with an instruction manual, and I don't need it because I know exactly how this thing transforms, but I thought you guys would want to see exactly what comes in the box. So here we are, there's that. You can freeze it and see it for yourselves, and yeah, tank mode. We all know how that goes. So here he is. He has a big toy. I gotta say, you get a lot of value with this new Tyrannosaurus Rex Zord. He's not perfect. He's okay. We'll talk about the flaws later, like his tail that will not stay up. I guess, you know, performance issues affect, what, 1 out of 5? Oh well, we're not here to judge. Well, let's take a closer look at him. He looks okay. The plastic is garbage, like absolute trash. It's really hollow. It doesn't, I don't know, instill faith, and if I invested in this full Megazord, it might fall apart if I looked at it funny. But the chest is supposed to open up. It's supposed to, the operative word, or words. Let's see. Okay, we move the arms down, and the chest opens up, and we can get the head down. And there's the Megazord head. And I always thought this was kind of weird looking as a kid if you had the body without the rest of the Megazord. So the paint detail's there. It looks pretty good. I mean, this one is a big improvement over the Ranger figure. The Ranger figure is absolutely terrible. This isn't bad at all. It's got, you know, nice articulation, nice detail. And here we are going to compare it to the Super 7 Tyrannosaurus Rex action figure. Now this one doesn't transform, so it's not really a fair comparison. It's supposed to look like the guy in the suit, so it's got that going for it. It's got a segmented tail. It's got all sorts of details. It's a pretty cool figure. Not really worth the original 60-something bucks. That's why I waited to get it for $30 on Amazon, and you can get it pretty cheap yourself. I highly recommend it if you're looking for it, and you can see it's got way more detail. Again, it doesn't transform. It doesn't turn into the Megazord, but it's a hefty figure, and it's got a lot of articulation. So I think it's a pretty cool collectible to have. Let's slide him back there. Up next, we're going to compare it to the original. This is the original Megazord, the one I've had since 1993. You can see a little bit of battle damage, but overall, it's in pretty great shape for being 32 years old. The joints are nice and tight. Let's pop off the Black Ranger Zord. And as you can see here, we have this weird look. That's a little tight. Let's do it this way. Don't want to break these for the sake of a video. These are collectibles after all, folks. When does a toy stop being a toy and become a collectible? At what age? It's like a vintage car at 25 years old. This is a vintage toy. I guess I'm a vintage person. So here's the original compared to the new one. As you can see, they do not scale well. You get, what, 30% bigger of a toy? But for what you get in size, you lack in detail. I mean, again, this was a kid's toy, so let's not hear that excuse in the comments section. But the original has more detail. The eyes glow. Well, it's got a really cool pearlescent paint. There's detail at the top. It's silver and black. I mean, I think the new one's a bigger toy, but a downgrade in terms of quality. Now, this one isn't a fair comparison. This is the Soul of Chogokin from SH Figure Arts. This was like a $300 Megazord. Yeah, I'm an adult. Yeah, I bought this. I got my own money. I want to fight about it. But I'm just showing you this to show you the differences, so you can compare them yourself. Again, this is not a kid's toy. This has articulation everywhere. The arms move, the claws move. It's really cool, and it transforms, and it's made of metal and plastic. So it's a pretty hefty toy. I was having trouble keeping it standing up. That's why we had that abrupt edit. But as you can see here, again, this is an adult collectible, but the new one just kind of pales in comparison. Anyway, this is just an excuse to show off my overly priced Zord. I wanted to do something a little different for today's toy video. It was a hybrid. We went out to the shelves, we found something cool, we brought it back. And the main crux of this video is the power of nostalgia is fueling this toy line. This is the second attempt to relaunch it, and the third time that a Power Rangers toy line called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is hitting the shelves. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is for kids, this is to get the next generation excited for Power Rangers, and I hope it works. But honestly, I don't think it will. Because in 2010 they tried it, Disney tried it. They relaunched the show, it was on Saturday mornings, prime for kids, and the toys were everywhere. There was Megazords, action figures, you name it. It just didn't sell. Some people call those vintage Power Ranger toys, but what I showed you are the actual original vintage toys. And so I'm going to stop yelling at clouds right now. And overall, as a collector, I got to say this is a big downgrade. That new Blue Ranger is pretty embarrassing, and if your kid likes it, awesome. If you like it, awesome. I'm not here to judge. But overall, I'm going to put the kibosh on getting any more of these things. The Blue Ranger's been added to the collection. The Tyrannosaurus Zord has been added to the collection. Maybe if these things get clearanced out for like $3, I'll buy the rest of the figures. And the Zords, if they were like 5 to 10 on clearance, I might bite there. But overall, I consider these kind of disappointing for the regular adult collector. And honestly, I consider them kind of disappointing for the original Power Rangers kids. You know, we're in our 30s right now. We grew up with these awesome toys, this awesome show, this moment in time that we cannot recapture. And no matter how hard Playmates or Hasbro or anybody out there tries to recapture that lightning in a bottle, you just can't. Bandai did it best. The show was great then. It's okay now, but those old toys are still some amazing action figures. They had better articulation, better sculpt, they were bigger, they were just more exciting. Even as an adult, I look at it and go, there's a lot of value here. So no wonder these things worth like 10 or 12 bucks versus your regular $5 Batman. But I'm done ranting about nostalgia. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Tell me if you like this style of video and we'll do more. The best way to do that is to watch the video, share it, comment on it, and let everybody know that you're world class by watching our world class content. Well, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy your Saturday. Like I said, folks, Saturdays are for the toys. So last week we went to Ollie's. This week we brought you this. Next week, who knows what we're going to talk about. But if I have any requests, I'll probably make that video. As you can see, my collection is vast, my collection is huge, and one day we're going to cover it all. But until then, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.